Hello, y'all, and happy Thursday. Welcome back to Talk It Out with D&D Podcast, where we have real conversation that inspire growth, purpose, and action. Tonight, we're doing something special. I'm sitting down with the visionary entrepreneur who has been making waves in the media and technology for over 16 years. He is the founder and CEO of Full Screen Media Works, a company built on innovation, storytelling, and helping brands truly connect with their audience. This is someone who didn't just talk about the vision, he put the work behind it, stayed consistent, and kept evolving as the industry changed. So, y'all, please help me welcome tonight's guest, Mr. Harold H.B. O'Brien Jr.
Thank you very much.
Hey, are you there? Can you hear me loud and clear?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear, and I'm very excited to share with you this evening, and I'm glad that you guys invited me on.
Thank you for being here with me tonight. I appreciate you as well. Now, before we get started, I always like to start from the beginning because I like people to get backgrounds when it comes to, when we talking, so people can kind of get to know who you are and not just, just about the business, but they can know who you are personally. So, Mr. Harold,
Right.
let's start at the beginning. Take us back to 2003. What inspired you to
Oh,
step out and start Full Screen Media Works, and what was going on in your life at that time?
exactly. Okay. Well, it's a twofold story to this because um, when I got out of the military, I'm a ex-military Army veteran. When I got out, I really wanted to push myself in doing something. But
Mm,
in 2003, I was, like most people, eureka moments come to you at certain times. And in this case, I was taking a shower, and I heard an interview in the background, like it was on CNN. And I heard this guy, he was very brash. He was talking about, yeah, when I started CNN, uh, you know, they said it couldn't be done, and I wanted this to be seen around the world. And I realized Wolf Blitzer was interviewing Ted Turner,
mm,
and at that moment, I had an idea in the shower, and
mm,
that idea was, okay, if Ted Turner can do this with satellite, I said I'm going to do this with the internet. Not knowing anything about it. The internet was very new at the time. So I went into the process, the thinking process. I said, you know what? I want to build a network just like a CNN. I said, but I need a media company to do the distribution for the um, events that's going to be on Web Central TV. So that's how this whole concept came about.
cool. That's awesome. And that's like with the visionary, the visions. It's like it's so good when you
Yeah.
have that light bulb. When that light bulb goes off, it's like yes. I love it. I love it. So your company blends media, technology, and storytelling so well. Was that always the vision, or did you evolve as you grew and learn more along the way?
Um, it was it was definitely R&D, research and development. I mean, number one, with the ideal, I had no ideal in regards to video transformation and dealing with the bits. This was before there was a YouTube. YouTube came around in 2005. So when Full Screen Media Works started in 2003, there was no bandwidth. And while I was doing my research and development, I remember one time it took a day and a half to download the video so the video can play. And I said, "Oh my God!" I said, "This is it's going to take forever because it just wasn't the bandwidth to be able to open it up."
Mm,
So so that was 2 years R&D. And then 2005, I heard about these two guys was starting a uh, a web TV development and stuff like that, and it come to find out it was YouTube.
Mm,
I forgot the two guys, Chad, and when I realized, I said my dream is over. I said
mm,
well, they don't have came up with YouTube, and YouTube had quicker bandwidth, everything download in a few seconds. I said, oh wow, how can I compete with that? You
mm-hmm,
know, and so I had to really go into that moment as an entrepreneur where you just say, hey, look, we're not going to let this dream die. We're gonna evolve around it. So I said, I'm gonna study YouTube, and I'm going to master it where I can be sufficient with what I was doing with Web Center TV.
mm-hmm. Interesting. Now, a lot of people struggle with self doubt, like you were saying, and
Right.
fear, especially when you stepping into something new. How did you push past that mindset barrier when things got tough?
Yeah, there are tough moments as an entrepreneur. You got to wear many hats. Um, me, I had to learn the hard way. Even though I was passionate about what I was doing, I had to realize, look, you can be an engineer all day long, but at the end of the day, you got to run a business. It's a
Mm-hmm.
business. You got to do the books. You got to do the marketing. You got to do the sales. You got to make the telephone calls. So I was in a battle with that for a minute.
Mm. Now, I can feel you on that one because I know how it is when, especially when you're a one person show, when it's
Right.
like you doing everything, that can be a lot, and if sometimes people don't understand because it is just you trying to do a whole bunch of things. So you're doing the hats of like 20 people, whereas though in the beginning it's hard for you to kind of take on things. Now, you've done everything from content creation to tech innovation. How important has passion been in keeping your focus and consistency over the years?
It's no doubt passion is the key sauce to your success because
Hmm.
uh, you have to want it so bad where you're not thinking about the money.
Mm,
Like all entrepreneurs who come in, if you're thinking about the money in the beginning, yes, you have to have an operational budget. You have to exist, but you can't be coming into the format thinking that, well, this is going to give me a lot of money. You got to put the work in it.
mm-hmm,
But there is that one thing that I always say to people, and especially my clients, is that what is that one thing that make you want to when you get up in the morning, it gives you a burst of energy, a burst of joy. It makes you create. It makes you want to innovate. And once you realize what that is, that's your passion.
right. And it's so crazy that you said it like that because it just made me think of Sister Act when Whoopi Goldberg was telling the person,
Right.
she's like, hey, if you go to sleep and all you can think about is music, then that's,
That's
baby girl,
it.
that's what you need to do. So,
You know,
yes, that's so
and
true when
and
it comes to
and
passion.
yeah, in the analogy of things, to me, I always tell my clients that it's that thing that even you bug your mother about when you was a teenager or a child.
Mhm,
You know, you always wanted to be. If that is uh, a musician or a basketball player or somebody that was good in science and math,
mhm,
there's that thing that you have. You have been given that gift. We all have been given gifts, but we have to find out what is that passion, because that is going to get you to where you need to be. Now, if it, I had situations where when I first started out as an entrepreneur, of course you got to eat, you got to put food on the table.
right.
I was working uh, as a consultant, But as working as a consultant, I still realized I had to learn the ins and outs of sales and being able to talk to customers and stuff like that. So I
Mhm.
looked at that as, okay, I'm going to utilize this. I'm going to learn from this, but I'm going to use this. I'm going to put this in my toolbox to be able to use, to be able to communicate and talk to customers.
Mhm. Now, when you okay, so you're saying that, but when you had what advice I would say that you would give to someone listening right now who feels that they was called to do more but doesn't really know where to start and they're afraid to take their first step? Because I have people who I deal with sometimes on a when it comes to business, of course. Some people are, I might have some people who don't have a business yet, and they're looking to start something. They get into different things because, like you just stated, you don't want to get into something just for the money. However, sometimes some people think about things that they may like. Sometimes they think about it with just the money, but then when they get into it, they're like, they didn't make what they expected to make, or they feel like it's not going the way they expected to go. They don't really put all that time in it. They don't give it their full, 6 months to a year or more to be able to even see if it's working for them. Sometimes like even longer, when it comes to starting off. Because I tell people, when I started my business, I started back in 2014. And I let people know, like, when I started, I didn't like push off. Like in the beginning, I actually still had a job. I was working while I was starting my business. And only at the time, because it was a conflict of interest with me working in the field that I'm doing business in, I couldn't market my business. So in the very beginning, it was just family and friends because I couldn't tell people and put it out there like that. But some people wouldn't have been able, some people don't even take that risk of not really being able to push because you figure I didn't leave my job and start going full-time entrepreneur until 2022. So, and you figure I started from 2014. So some people don't have that drive to say this is my passion, this is what I want to do. And sometimes they have people in their ears and it's like, what can you really push and what can you tell people to help them don't listen to the hearsay and really go for what they want to go for?
Yeah, I think initially that it's time to move on what it is that God has given you the gift to do. And that's the first thing, being able to listen and trust what you're listening to and not being afraid, but just saying, okay, I think I can really do this. I'm doing this, but you know, you're worrying about the monetary, you're worrying about how you're going to be able to do this and make revenue, uh, uh, and being focused on that is not the key because what's going to lead you to the thing is your continuance to connect the dots. I'll give you an example. I was in the military. I remember this. I was in Germany and I was trying to, we were like, where we were stationed at, they had a PS and I was trying, that's kind of like a commissary store. And I
Mhm.
was trying to figure out what to spend my money on, man. Just,
Mhm.
it was payday and, I'm trying to spend money. So as I was walking around, I come around to this object that looks like a Commodore, well, actually it was a Commodore 64 computer. Now, that is the first language model type of computer that you can actually hook up to a television and be able to put in programming. But at that time, I had no idea what that was. Uh, but I knew that you had to do zeros and zeros. And they had this magazine that gave us where we had the programming code because you couldn't, they had, of course, there was no such thing as the internet.
Mhm.
So that led me to that curiosity. What can I make out of this?
Mhm.
And in regards to cinematography, there was a buddy in the barrack that had a Sony camera, but he just was spending his money. I mean, we had time before we had to go to our net other destination, so he had a Sony camera, but he
Mm-hmm.
didn't he didn't really use it. I mean, he just had it in the corner collecting dust. So I picked up the camera and I saw that there was opportunity to create some very cool stuff. So I bought this camera from him, and that led me into cinematography. But
Mm.
what led me into robotics was when I got out, I took a job at Showbiz Pizza Place, out of all places. There was a job there to work on the mechanic robots to keep them in shape and stuff. At that time, they had those mechanical Billy Bobs or whatever, but you had to keep these robots and keep the audio synced up so that it'll appear to the kids that they're singing and stuff. So that was my first
So what is hold on, hold on,
opportunity.
hold on. So what is that at a pizza shop? Like what are they
Yeah,
what is
but they don't have the robotics part of it anymore. They discontinued that. But there was a point in time where they would have all these. I think like three or four mechanical robots that were singing, but you
mm,
had to keep it. But sometimes the tape would go down. Back then, during that time, there were audio tapes, so the tape would go down. Then you had to be creative. And there have been plenty of times I had to go back in the studio booth and be creative to entertain these kids. So
wow.
all of those things connected me to the curiosity. But I also have a musical background as well. But that's a different story. But tonight, I just wanted to explain to you how full screen media work became what it is. Now,
Mm-hmm.
you did ask a very important question. Um, how to not be disappointed. There are going to
Mm-hmm.
be times when you are doing this thing called being an entrepreneur, and you're going to feel like you're on an island by yourself trying to survive. You're waiting on the cavalry to come, but they're not going to come. They're
Mm-hmm.
not going to come. You have to get off that island by networking. You have to network. If
Mm-hmm.
you are an introvert or you're a person that feel like, no, I just rather stay safe behind the building process, you can't do that. You got to get out there and you got to network and you got to connect with people. I have done tremendous things for my community just to network, just to
Mm-hmm.
find out who is who in the community and what I can do to help
Mm-hmm.
through my platform.
Right.
So oh yeah, we was talking about this too. We have a if you live in the Conyers, uh, Stonecrest area, really, pretty much, I'm going to expand this out to Atlanta because there's some individuals I'm networking with that can be able to help me cover the space where we're trying to connect with entrepreneurs and give them an opportunity to voice who they are and what they do.
Mm-hmm.
There are so many that are out there, but they don't have the content. They
Right.
don't have the content. So what we're doing, we're focusing on giving them that moment in the spotlight, and then at the same time help them with their platforms,
Mm.
help
That's
them to
awesome.
be able to understand more about media and how content and social media work.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Now, because you stated this, so let me ask. So, for those watching in and listening, how can they connect with you and work with the full screen media? How can they
Yeah.
reach out to you?
Yeah. There's a couple of ways. We are trying to make it a more better type of platform in regards to Facebook. So we're definitely adjusting on that. But if you want to immediately get in contact with us, there's a website you go to. It's called www.full screenmediaworks.com, and there in the platform you can see everything that we have to offer, and especially the free promotional video for the people that have businesses in that community. And as I
Mhm.
said before, by the spring or summer, we're going to expand it to Atlanta because, again, this is a community-based thing, and I know there's a lot of moms and pops that have to have content, and we're ready to do that. There's other things that we do too. We do virtual reality, we do augmented reality, we do artificial intelligence. So we are definitely on the mass media side and also heavy on the technology side. So that's what we do.
Okay. And that's real good. Now I want, like, once we finish, I want to stay and talk to you for a second. But for everybody listening, Harold, thank you so much for joining me tonight and sharing your story.
Thank
Because
you.
this conversation was real powerful, real and true, inspiring. And to everyone listening, he just did something that y'all know that I'm trying to do as well, and that is helping small business owners. And so what he's doing right now is he is really putting things out there where I know if you're a business owner, you're something like me, where you don't really have that content, you be struggling with trying to figure things out. That's who y'all need to talk to when it comes to helping you with getting that done, getting those that media, getting those things. So you want to definitely connect with him. I want y'all to hear this clearly. Now, like we talked about, you can do whatever you put your mind to as long as it's something you're passionate about. It is possible. And when you stay committed to your passion, it turns into purpose. So don't let fear stop you. Don't let doubt hold you back. And if it's truly, truly placed in you, there's a reason for it. So I want to say thank you all for tuning in to Talk It Out with D&D Podcast. You got your girl
Thank
Denise
you.
Murray here. Miss Denise Day will be back next week. She's feeling under the weather today. So keep her in y'all prayers. And also say a big shout out to Mr. Harold here. And make sure y'all connect with him again with his business. And make sure you like and share and subscribe. And I will see you all next week. Y'all all have a great evening and have a great weekend as well. Good night, everybody.
Good night.